So you're headed to Krakow and now you're overwhelmed with all the planning. You're tired of going from website to website to try and figure out everything you need to know. Well, don't worry, I'm here to help. In this video, we'll cover everything you need to know about visiting this remarkable city. Choosing a destination is only the first step in planning your dream European vacation. After you've chosen where to go, all the hours of research, planning, and booking begins. This can be frustrating and overwhelming. I will cover all the exact itineraries, logistics, expert tips and tricks so that you aren't burnt out before you even depart. This video is part of the larger itinerary of the whole of Poland that I did a video on, and I'll put the link here, and the link will also be in the show notes. So check that out if you want to see the larger itinerary. Today we're just going to focus on Krakow itself. So I'm going to say Krakow throughout this video. My husband lived in Poland for 2 years, and that's the way he says it. Most people say Krakow. Either way you say it, it's a stunning city and popular for a reason. That's probably the only word I will say correctly in Polish in this video. Other ones I will probably butcher, and sometimes I won't even try. I'll just put the name on the screen so that you can try and say it yourself. A couple interesting facts about Krakow. It has a population of about 760,000 people. It was the capital of Poland from 1038 to 1596. And another interesting thing is that while a lot of Poland was heavily bombed during the war and almost completely destroyed, such as Warsaw, Krakow was almost untouched. Just a quick personal story that I love before we get started. So as you know, my husband lived in Poland for 2 years in the 90s, and we've been married for 25 years. And for the whole 25 years, he's been telling me about this man at a food truck that he would go to every night on his way home to his apartment. He was only there during the evenings and through the night, and he sold kielbasa and these rolls with the best mustard that my husband had ever tasted. And so I've been hearing about this for 25 years. When we went to Krakow, my husband went on a walk and he actually found the man at the same corner, same tent, selling the same food, and it tasted exactly like he remembered it. And the man had said that he had been working there for every night for the last 40 years. So that was kind of a fun thing for my husband to go and be able to find him. Okay, on to planning your trip. So getting there. If you're coming from abroad, the easiest way to get here is to fly into the John Paul II airport. And once you get there, it's easy getting into the city. It's only about 6 miles west of the city, and there are many ways to get in. One of the ways is the SKA1 train. You pick it up in the terminal of the airport, and it's about a 20-minute ride into the main Krakow station. And then from there, you'd need to decide, depending on where your hotel is, if you want to walk or get an Uber or taxi or bus or tram. Another way to get into the city are taxis and Ubers. They're reasonably priced and easy to catch. So another way to get to Krakow is by train. If you are doing my larger Poland itinerary, you'll probably be coming from Warsaw, and so you'll probably be doing either a train or renting a car. If you are coming by train, you'll just come into the main Krakow train station, and then from there it's about a 15-minute walk right into Old Town, or you can take a taxi or an Uber or a bus depending on where your hotel is. Of course, the other way to come here is just by renting a car. Poland is an easy place to be renting a car and driving around, as they have good roads and nice highways to drive on. Getting around. So getting around Krakow is really easy. It has an extensive public transportation system with buses and trams, and it's really easy to use. If you're staying in Old Town though, most of the things that you'll want to see are within walking distance. There's only a couple things that you would need public transportation for, such as the salt mine. If you are using public transportation, there are a couple things you need to know. So there are 2 main zones, Strefa 1 and Strefa 2. Most of the tourist attractions are in that first zone. The salt mine again is in that second zone. You can buy tickets that are single fare, double fare, or timed tickets. So the single fare and double fare are good for just 1 or 2 rides, obviously. And then the time tickets are for a certain amount of time. So you can get 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, or you can get 24, 48, or 72 hours, or even up to a week. And those are good for as many rides as you need during that time period. You can get those tickets at kiosks at the major bus or tram stations, and you can also get them actually on the vehicles. So if you get on a tram or bus, there's little kiosks on there, and they have English and they take cash or card. There are reduced ticket prices for students, and then those under 7 or over 70 are free. There are also some mobile apps that you can use if you don't want to buy the tickets at the kiosk. There's Sky Cash and Mobilit. There's also the Krakow card that you can buy. It covers all transportation, and it also covers over 30 museums. So you might want to price that out. It depends which museums you want to go to and what sites you want to see, and see if that's worth it for you. But that's another option as well. Okay, what to do? So now you've made it to Krakow. Let's talk about all the things you need to do and see. So you're going to want to start in Old Town. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's just brimming with charm and character. Old Town is centered around a square that I'm going to put the name up on the screen because I can't say it. But in the square are lots of restaurants and shops. It also has Cloth Hall and St. Mary's Cathedral. Cloth Hall is the building right in the middle of the square. It was built in the 13th century as a shopping center, and it was a real hub for trading and bartering. International merchants would come into the city to trade. It has also been used through the years for opulent balls and receptions. The ground floor is still used as a shopping center, so there's lots of different stalls where you can find wood carvings, lace work, and all types of Polish souvenirs. The upper floor holds a division of the National Museum. It houses the largest collection of 19th century Polish art and sculpture. The museum is closed on Mondays and it's free on Tuesdays. It is open from 10 to 6, and there are audio guides as well as guided tours if you're interested. The shopping on the lower level goes from 10 until 8. St. Mary's Basilica is the main church on the square. It is open every day from 11:30 to 6, and you do need a ticket to get in, but you can just buy one there. You don't need to buy one ahead of time. There are multiple masses, so if you're interested in one of those, check out the schedule. Construction on this church began in the 13th century. This is a brick Gothic church and is famous for its carved wooden altarpiece. So a fun story about this church is every hour on the hour, the trumpet call is performed, but it's cut off in the middle. This is to commemorate a 13th century trumpeter who was hit in the throat with an arrow as he was warning the city of an oncoming attack. In the 18th century, the interior was rebuilt in the Baroque style with beautiful blue and gold. Florianska Street is the main street that leads from the main square to Florianska Gate, which was the main gate in the Middle Ages. And this street is lined with shops and restaurants and cafes, and it's a great place to wander and people watch and explore. About a 10-minute walk from the main square is Valville Castle, and the castle is part of a fortified complex containing multiple buildings. The current castle was erected in the 14th century and was the residence of Polish monarchs for centuries. Today it houses an art museum, the royal apartments, an armory, the crown treasury, and an archaeological exhibit that features the remains of the royal kitchens and a 10th century rotunda. It's free to walk around the hill, but if you want to get into any of the sites, you do have to get a ticket. The museum hours change throughout the year, so check that before, but they're generally open from about 9:30 to 5. Mondays are always free. You can get a ticket online or at the Castle Information Center. Tickets are timed and there is a limited number, so get those beforehand. They go on sale 2 weeks before the date that you're going. You can't get the free tickets online. You have to go to the information center. There are different options for tickets. You can get one that covers everything, or you can get individual tickets if you just want to go to a few of the sites. The Wawel dragon is a fun statue to see. It's a fire-breathing dragon, and it sits by its lair. There's a myth about this dragon that he was terrorizing the people until Prince Krakow slayed him. He then built his palace above the lair of the dragon and founded the city of Krakow. The Wawel Cathedral, this is formally called the Cathedral of Stanislaus and St. Wenceslaus. The cathedral is the coronation site of Polish rulers. Construction of this current church began in the 14th century. It has an eclectic appearance with Romanesque, Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque, Neoclassical, and Neo-Gothic design. Entrance to the church is free, but if you want to see the crypt or the bell, you have to pay for that. The Oskar Schindler Enamel Factory is another must-see. So Oskar Schindler was an entrepreneur who was credited with saving over 1,000 Jews from the Nazis during World War II by employing them in this factory. Initially, this factory made enamelware, but during the war, it changed to also producing mess kits and ammunition for the German army because Schindler wanted to make sure that they didn't shut it down. He wanted to make sure that what they were producing was deemed necessary. It is about a 30-minute walk, or you can take the number 20 tram, but it'll take you about the same amount of time to get there. The museum tells the history of the inhabitants of the Jewish ghetto during the war. It's set up really interesting. There's 45 rooms and they're all set in different places. So there'll be a hair salon or a railway station. There are guided tours that last about an hour and a half, or you can walk around on your own. Mondays are free, but there is a limited number of tickets. And you can buy tickets online for all the other days but Monday. Tickets are timed. The last entry is 90 minutes before closing time, so be aware of that so you don't miss out. Also, opening times change depending on the season, so just check out their website. The first Tuesday of every month it is closed, so be careful of that. If you are traveling with children, this is something that you will need to decide if this is appropriate for them. There's nothing gory or gruesome about it, but it does tell a sad story that might be really hard for younger children to understand or comprehend. Okay, I'm going to say the name of this neighborhood wrong. Kazimierz. I'm going to put it up on the screen too. But this is the old historic Jewish quarter. Before World War II, Poland had about 3 million Jews. Now that's only down to about 9,500. They were really active in Krakow and they built 6 synagogues in this city. During the war, the ghetto was walled off from the rest of the city and they were segregated. Many people died of starvation or illness, or they died when the ghetto was liquidated and they were sent to concentration camps. This area is a jumble of indie shops and restaurants and cute things to see. This neighborhood is just a 15 to 20 minute walk from the main square. I would recommend going to Heroes Square. This was the largest open area in the ghetto and it was used for deportations, beatings, and executions. It's also where there's a monument now, where there are iron chairs set up. They represent the seats left empty from all those deported or killed. Another thing to do when you're in this area is to go to a klezmer concert. So this is traditional Jewish music, and there are a couple of places you can see it. One of these is a restaurant called Klezmer House. This is an old Jewish bathhouse. And while you're eating dinner, they'll play some klezmer music for you. I'm going to show you a little clip. It's really bad quality, but you'll kind of get the idea of what it sounds like. This is a wonderful way to spend an evening and learn more about the traditions and cultures of the Jews in Poland. There are a couple of day trips that are absolute must-sees from Krakow. One, of course, is Auschwitz-Birkenau. This is a concentration camp and an extermination camp. 1.3 million people, mostly Jews, were sent here, and 1.1 million people died here. Just like the Schindler factory, if you are traveling with children, you will need to decide if it is appropriate to take them. We traveled with our 4 children and we took them. Our youngest was 10. The website says that they don't recommend it for people under 14, but you can just decide that. We were nervous to take our children and they were nervous to go, but they thank us all the time that they were able to have that opportunity. When you're deciding whether to take your children or not, make sure that they would be able to act appropriately for the whole time and respectfully while you're there. You'll also need to dress appropriately and be respectful while taking pictures. To get there, it is about an hour drive or about 2 hours on the SKA2 train from Krakow. There are also organized tours from Krakow if that is something that you're more interested in. You will need to get your tickets online beforehand as it can get really busy and they can sell out. You can take guided tours or you can walk around by yourself. The tickets are timed and the ones that are unguided are mostly at the end of the day and there's only a few slots for that, so just be aware of that if that's something that you're interested in. The guided tours take about 3.5 hours. Just note that you will need ID to get in and come about 30 minutes early to get through security. This is a really poignant and emotional day, but it is really important and well worth your time to go. Okay, let's talk about the salt mine for a little bit. I'm not going to even try to say it because I'm just going to say it wrong, so I will put the name on the screen. This salt mine is about 10 kilometers south of the city. It's really easy to get to on public transportation or by car. By car, it takes about 20-25 minutes, and there's parking there, so it's easy. By public transportation, you'll just take the SK1 train. Another option is to take the 304 bus. So you book your tickets ahead of time because it will sell out as well. You can do that online. There are guided tours. They last about 2 to 3 hours. And there are also specialty tours such as Miner's Route or Pilgrim's Route. So those are available as well. This mine is fascinating. It was continuously mined from the 13th century all the way until 1996. And it has an underground lake. It has 4 chapels and some beautiful carvings and sculptures, all made of salt. And it also gives you a fascinating history of the mine and the workers. One other logistical thing I wanted to mention about visiting Krakow is that the opening times of all of these sites vary by season, and so make sure to check out their opening times. I found that many of the times are quite short. Some are open just from 10 until 4. And so you have to be really careful of that. You're gonna love Krakow. It's such a beautiful and amazing city full of fascinating things to see and do. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe.